You guys are completely insane. Just when we thought we had seen it all, more receipts suddenly appeared. Chrissy Lampin and I's poisonous relationship was revealed, and it might rock the entire love and hip-hop cosmos. Hold on. How did these two even become entangled in this web of drama and treachery, and what is actually happening behind the scenes? And plain messiness. Why is Yandy going crazy over it? Something isn't right, and we have the facts to prove it. We're discussing leaked communications, covered meetings, and rumors of a dubious relationship that even the most hardcore fans are in disbelief. Was this the ultimate betrayal, or was it prearranged? You all had better grab some popcorn, because this tea is really hot, and I promise you won't look at Chrissy and myself the same way after watching this video. Once more, hit the like button because we're going to go into this dirty, jaw-dropping scandal, and you won't want to miss it. We all know Chrissy Lampkin, so you better buckle up because this is going to become really messy. We got M's Harris Mister and I've changed, but as the no-nonsense say, it's like Queen from Love and Hip Hop. Somehow they're always involved in drama, but what if I told you that these two have far more history than they actually do? Let's continue. What if I told you that there is proof linking Chrissy and Mendeecees in unexpected ways? Let's face it, it's not pretty. To begin with, how did Chrissy and Mendeecees ever know each other? Although these two never really crossed paths on camera in that way, there is a distinct backstory that can be found in the before Mendeecees even connected with Yandy Smith, he was going around in circles that were far too similar to Chrissy's environment, and we were conversing regarding mutual friends, late-night business transactions, and let's just say, favors being given and received. Do you all recall? Rumors circulated that money was being transferred while Chrissy and Jim Jones were juggling all of that financial problems in methods that weren't really legal. According to reports, you can imagine who was involved in such transactions. Disappear, yes, M's himself, and wait for things to grow worse. Chrissy and Jim's relationship was always erratic, right? Observed her pop the question on national television, only for him to back off and continue avoiding marriage for more than 10 years. What if I told you that Jim wasn't just being himself? What if Jim was acting really hilarious for another reason? You guys are following me here for a reason that involves a certain person who has a habit of sneaking where he shouldn't be. Because this situation is likely to get out of hand, news is spreading that Chrissy and M's relationship isn't merely about money. Oh no, according to our sources, there were rumors of night meetings, low-key rendezvous, and there has been some extremely questionable behavior between the two, and although I don't want to start rumors, that's precisely what we're here to achieve. So receive this information from an anonymous source who recently revealed some startling information regarding Jim Jones's brief absence from town, and guess who was spotted in a convenient location? Sneaking into and out of Chrissy's former condo. You guys obviously know where this is headed, huh? Mendeecees and before. You guys remark, oh, perhaps he was just taking care of business. Could you please explain why these late-night meetings were taking place? Let's discuss these alleged business transactions and tell me why no one was meant to be aware of them. Listen, I always get a little too interested in my business, if you understand, and the greatest. You all know that Yandy doesn't play when it comes to her man. She will defend me. This is the part when she lost it when she learned of it. Through anything, but even she was unable to overlook the warning signs as this story began to circulate, according to sources. Let's just say that things did not go well when Yandy confronted me about his relationship with Chrissy. She began questioning. She began bringing up receipts he believed to be buried, and the more she probed, the more he was unable to answer her queries. Things weren't adding up, and this is where things get complicated since males in DC don't deny anything, right? Oh no. He instead used the well-known "why are you bringing up old stuff" tactic, telling Yandy that she was hallucinating and that it wasn't what she believed, that people simply enjoyed talking. But when Yandy challenged him about those late-night conversations, he made a mistake. Visits on the date of specific transactions. He simply became very silent without stating that she was mistaken. And if we are all aware that when males go quiet when under pressure, it indicates that something is wrong. So let's not forget about Chrissy and Yandy's years-long feud. Back then, Chrissy made it plain that she didn't appreciate Yandy after accusing her of attempting to manipulate Jim's career and calling her filthy and nasty Chrissy. And it's possible that Mies was repositioning Shady behind her back. Oh, Yandy was prepared to leave, and that's precisely what. Yandy didn't intend to ignore it. Instead, she pulled up with the energy of the receipts and all the smoke. Considering that this was a private event with an exclusive guest list and cameras were rolling, it appears that Chrissy was not prepared. Yandy enters the room in a serene manner, but you are aware that this is a dangerous kind of calm, even though I have something for you. Approaches Chrissy directly, fixes her with his gaze, and asks, "So, how long have you been playing with my husband and baby?" Chrissy was shaken, but she tried to laugh it off by claiming that Yandy was doing something. The hush in that room was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. Too much, but Yandy wouldn't have it. She took screenshots of transactions and extracted texts that appeared to be excessively cozy for just business. Then Yandy unleashed the big shock. "I met someone who saw you," when Chrissy attempted to dismiss it. Yes, part one ends there, but believe me, it only gets more bizarre from here. They're all together and ready to discuss. Chrissy, remain locked in because this scandal is just getting started. Part 2. Oh, we're going even further into the lunacy. The woman who was usually 10 steps ahead and always prepared for a counterattack seems to have been frozen for the first time. Yandy wasn't playing and was caught completely off surprise. She had screenshots, timestamps, and, most importantly, someone who had. Since you've already seen how Christy gets stuck in a corner and finds it difficult to fold, what does? She laughs in Yandy's face as if the entire situation were a joke, saying, "Girl, you must be really bored to be fabricating such tales," but notice that Yandy isn't a wimp. She took out her phone, tapped the screen, and remarked, "Before you start laughing too much and the true trouble starts, you might want to hear what this individual has to say." Began, the entire room fell hushed, and Chrissy's demeanor briefly changed, but Yandy noticed it. Yandy only needed a little moment of anxiety. Now let's discuss this mystery witness, because who is this? Here's where things get complicated. How did they have direct knowledge of Chrissy and M's alleged business? Unfortunately, the individual in question is none other than a former colleague of M's who used to manage specific transactions for. He has been with Mendeecees for years, so let's name him Dre. He understood how Mendeecees worked, who he met, and where he transferred his funds, and more significantly, the people he was hanging out with while he wasn't with Yandy. And you know what Dre had? Receipts. But let's take a moment to stop, as Chrissy was still attempting to appear unconcerned and was drinking her drink as if her words were unimportant. But then she pressed play on the recording of the voice, and the entire room erupted in laughter. Lost it because Dre's explanation of how he personally drove Mendeecees to Chrissy's location several times was so obvious. The aspect that truly shocked him was when Mendeecees would tell him, "I keep this low-key, I don't need any extra eyes on me." Waves Dre informed me directly that Chrissy had something over him, which is why he kept returning. At this moment, Chrissy's face changed from smug to stone because the tension in the room was so intense that it could be sliced with a knife. Yandy, however, was enamored with this and leaned in to ask if she wanted to continue laughing or if I should continue. At that moment, Chrissy lost her temper and hurried to her feet, filling her beverages, pointing a finger directly at Yandy's face. "You honestly think I have to explain myself to you over some phony-ass recording you?" She was prepared to throw hands. Getting to Yandy, which is awkward, but notice this. Yandy wasn't merely talking. She had proof that she opened a text conversation between Chrissy and Mies that had been sent by an unidentified source. Wasn't particularly romantic, but the wording was suspicious as heck, and you were convinced that everything was fine. No one is asking questions, Chrissy. You know I've got this. Just keep taking care of what needs to be done. As long as you keep your end tight, you're not bothered about anything. Tell me, because that sound like just business to you. Why was I handling anything for you when you and Jim Jones, let's not forget, had never been cool like that? Chrissy was furious at this point and turned to face the crowd, shaking her head like Yandy, unless there was more to it. It was insane that you all actually believed this garbage, but guess what? Not everyone stood up for her. Some people in the room were whispering and staring at her amusingly, and you know how creeps spread quickly once they're in the room. If it's all lies, Chrissy, why do you look so uneasy right now? Yandy delivered the ultimate blow at that point. You all already know what occurred after Chrissy finished, grabbed her bag, rolled her eyes, and stomped out. In just a few hours, videos of the confrontation went viral on the internet, and Twitter was in ruins. People were now beginning to seriously doubt whether this was the case. Here's what I haven't addressed. Nothing. He simply remained silent, and if we know anything about Mendeecees, he didn't try to clear his name or dispute anything. He enjoys defending himself, so why didn't he speak up sooner unless he realized he couldn't at this particular moment? After Yandy was done with him, she moved her children out of the house and, based on reports, ceased returning his calls. This isn't just a little dispute, but if what Yandy said was accurate, M has been deceiving her for years, which also indicates that Chrissy has been acting slyly the entire time. And let's not overlook the most important question of all. Since Dre mentioned that Mies told him she had something on him, what precisely does Chrissy have over Mies? The aspect about friends that shocked everyone was how Chrissy could have known that Messi was still playing by her. Oh, and why hasn't Jim mentioned any of this? You guys are only touching the surface, believe me. Gets much deeper, and in part 3, we're going all the way there. Stay tuned, for this is by no means the end of the narrative. Part 3 is about to begin, and I promise you that if you found the prior 2 sections to be crazy, you aren't prepared for this. What's next? As this is where we dissect Chrissy's relationship with Mendeecees and the reasons he might never be able to leave whatever arrangement they have going on. And as you are all aware, the internet is consuming this, so let's. Chrissy ducked out of the room so quickly after the altercation with Yandy that you would assume she was being hounded, and I'm still utterly silent. You understand how social media operates. If you don't stand up for yourself, people start creating their own tales, and baby, the hypothesis took off. At first, folks believed that Chrissy and I could have an old relationship that Yandy was unaware of, such as perhaps a relationship existed between them before Yandy. But no, that hypothesis didn't last long, since fresh information began to surface, and this was the moment that shocked everyone. And someone claiming to be an industry insider for years came forward with some information that altered the whole story, and this is what they claimed. Mies apparently conducted some business in the past that wasn't. We all know that I've served time for drug trafficking, so it's perfectly legal today, but evidently, we didn't fully understand that narrative since, as this insider claims, Chrissy was actually related to several of the same individuals M was interacting with, and she wasn't merely an outsider. Now, let's take a moment to reflect. Because if that's the case, the entire situation changes drastically. It's not simply about sly texting, mails, and covert meetings, which are about Chrissy's actual legal power over Mail's V's and why he is unable to cut ties with her, because she might start talking if he does, and men in DC can't afford that. Let's go back a little bit, since this section is insane. It seems that before Mies was imprisoned in the early 2000s, remember how Chrissy has always been deep in the streets. She crossed paths with you in a way that no one anticipated. In the past, she was living with some actual power players, and according to sources, she was somewhat too familiar with Mies's operations, among others, and when he was first imprisoned, he most likely believed he was leaving all of that behind, overlooked. But as you can see, Chrissy remembered, and more significantly, she preserved receipts since, in accordance with the so-called. He can never completely leave since insider Chrissy has information that might land him in major danger. He owes her money, and it seems that she never forgets it. Now everyone, this section is going to make your head spin when people began piecing together and discovered that this wasn't the first time Chrissy had utilized. As leverage sees, Chrissy wasn't just a Jim Jones gal in the past. She was also involved with some of the largest names in hip-hop, and let's just say that she was aware of things that people didn't want to be known. Because of her ability to move, people were afraid to cross her because she would start talking if they did, and now it appears that Mendeecees is just another individual entangled in her web. But if you've seen, things get much messier now. Jim Jones hasn't made any statements, tweeted anything, or spoken anything, and let's face it, he's not the kind to hold his tongue, so why does he act as if he doesn't see what's going on when some people claim he already knew about it? The arrangement between Chrissy and Ann, and perhaps he doesn't want to smoke because, come to think of it, if Chrissy has dirt on me, who's to blame? Claim that she has no information on Jai too, which is why he is being silent at this time as everything is unfolding. What is Yandy? Since she took the kids, packed her bags, and dipped when we last looked, can you really blame her? This was likely the final straw for her after everything she had to deal with Mendeecees. And if the rumors are accurate, then Yandy avoided a bullet because, let's face it, who is to say this if Chrissy has been harboring a grudge against me for years? At this point, Chrissy's reputation has already suffered, so drama isn't going to come back to haunt him. Has never been the cleanest, and this only serves to fuel the flames. He must now respond to some significant. Yandy may have just prevented herself from an even worse catastrophe, but the true question is, Chrissy will begin speaking because, if she does indeed have dirt on Mendeecees, what is preventing her from disclosing it? Even better, what if Chrissy already has? What if that text thread that was exposed was only the start? This story isn't finished, so trust me when the next bit of tea comes out. Let's bend everything and leave ends with no way out. Let me know if you believe Chrissy is actually keeping something over. We'll be right here to break it all down. Please share your ideas in the comments section below, as I need to know if this is just another instance of messy industry turmoil or something else entirely. Which side are you all on? And what are you doing if you haven't subscribed yet? Click the button to enable alerts. Now prepare yourselves for this narrative that will only grow wilder. I'll see you all in a little while. This tea is boiling, and I can already see that the comments section is going to blow up. So I have to ask, what do you guys believe is actually? While everyone else is playing checkers, Chrissy is playing chess outside. Is Mendeecees truly stuck? In a predicament he is unable to escape, and more significantly, what will Yandy do next, since if this drama continues? Given the current situation, I wouldn't be shocked if someone soon spilt even more receipts, so feel free to do so. Tell me which side you're on in the comment section below, and don't forget to mention whether you want the newest, messiest, and most. You need to be locked in right here for explosive celebrity scandals, so hit the like and subscribe buttons. Turn on those alerts because, darling, we're not done yet. Have faith in me for the next. An update on this situation will, even more insane. I'll see you all in the Stay Messy for the next one.